Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be a review of how the year has gone for me in the channel. So it's not really a watch review video as such, but there are a few watches I managed to pick up on the way which you might find quite interesting, and also a little bit about how my university went and then later working as a professional watchmaker full time. So I was finishing off my course. Basically, I took a 3-year course at university full time, and I was still building the clock, which is the main kind of highlight for the whole course. And it had to be handed in May. So back in January, I was still working on that. But that wasn't to say we didn't get to pick up a cheeky little watch along the way. And this is that very watch. It's a Fortis B52 limited edition. And I really quite like this watch. It's not one for everyone, I must say, but I just love it. I was lucky enough to, well, I think I was lucky enough to trade this in for a Seiko Alpinist, which I'd put on an old Sinn H-Link bracelet. And this came full box and papers, and I think it is a really, really nice watch. Quickly put it on my wrist so you got an idea how it looks, actually. Quick wrist check. I'm wearing my Sinn 144, which is still one of my favourite Sinns, to be fair. But yeah, I seen this advertised and just thought, yeah, I'll see if a guy fancies a trade. So I actually ended up trading and thought, wow, and that was it. So that was how January started off. Then came February. Now for me, February was a really important time because I'd set my kind of sights on having a ticking gear train for the clock I was doing at university. Now, I say this clock I designed and made from scratch, and many people, it's quite funny, you talk to people and say just to get a ticking gear train, they think it's incredibly easy. But if one thing is out by a quarter of a mil and then the next wheel is out by a quarter of a mil and so on, then forget it. You're not going to have a ticking clock. It is incredibly hard to get, and I think I was the second or third person in the course to actually have a fully ticking gear train. So that's only the gear train, not all the rest of the motion works, I think, but that was the main thing to try and get that. So I was really, really happy with that. Also in February, I had an email from the watch shop, Watch Gecko, and they wanted to know if I wanted to do a video with them. And I was like, yeah, why not? This will be quite interesting as well, because they've obviously got a big audience, and I think it's one of very few videos where you get to see my ugly mug, my face actually in the video. So it was a real eye-opener because I went along to their place and they've got a really impressive studio. It is very, very slick, very impressive. And I think the video went down well. It's on over 40,000 views, I think, and people seem to like it. So that was all good. Then came March, and obviously I was still working on my clock, trying to do the motion works at this point and iron out any kind of small, bits and pieces with it. But we also, through university, got to go down to London and actually visit the Tower clock, so Big Ben. We got to see the mechanism in there. That was fantastic. And then we went up and actually stood next to the bell, Big Ben, as it chimed, and wow, that was really, really impressive. Now, April came round. Obviously, I'm still busy like mad trying to get my clock finalised and finished. Also, the written side of it, because it isn't just making of the clock, it's also the written work which goes into it. And you've got servicing essays you have to do, as well as the physical servicing and the full logbook for how you actually made your clock, and that's over 10,000 words. So it was, for me, I found that incredibly hard, but I was lucky enough in May to actually hand it in. I think I was the first person to actually hand mine in. Oh no, I think there was also a lady who managed to hand hers in. Now, many of you may think, well, it's not that hard, but you got to remember there was only 15 of us at the start of the course 3 years before, and I think only 8 or 9 of us at the very end, and I think there was only 5 of us who actually had working clocks, to be fair. That's how tricky it is to actually make these things and get it all done. Now, I was lucky enough to actually passed with a first, which meant I got a George Daniels Education Trust Award, and I was lucky enough to get a Fellows Award for advancements in horology and technique. So that was really, I was over the moon with that. And so basically, my wife, out of nowhere, got me my next watch of the year, the Sinn U15. Now, the U15, I think, is absolutely stunning. It's basically a dressed up U50 from Sinn. And I love the U50, but I prefer this satinized finish. I think it just looks absolutely superb. And it's a little bit different than the standard U50s. Yes, the U50s do have the U-boat steel, but the difference is this actually came off a U-boat, the U-boat U15, and it is just absolutely stunning. Plus it has that simply amazing dial. As you can see in many views, it does simply look black, but when you get it outside, it's got a more kind of greeny blue tinge to it, turquoisey, or it's kind of absolutely superb. This isn't its original bracelet, as I've replaced it with another one which has a polished center links, as I think it suits the watch far better. I thought my wrist size 7¼ inches, but that's it actually on my wrist. So I was really blown away with that. I was quite a happy chappy there. So that's it on my wrist. Overall, it's an absolute stunning watch. Then came, basically, I'd finished university, and where I actually work as a watchmaker, I'd always done it as a kind of side project to my university. Now, all of a sudden, I was, you're thrown in the deep end, 'cause basically you are actually working then as a professional watchmaker, just trying to make money from that. So the difference is, from where I went to servicing one watch at a time, you always try and get two on the go at once now. So all of a sudden you're stripping down one watch, and you might have it in the clean, put it in the clean. The clean cycle takes about an hour. So in that meantime, that hour, you're then stripping down another watch and getting that in the cleaner as you start reassembling the next watch. And it's fast and furious. Honestly, you're really kind of was thrown in a deep end somewhat. So I had my own work from my own customers, but also I'm doing my boss's work as well. So it's kind of really, you have to learn very fast. That's the thing. So where I was 6 months ago or a year ago in watchmaking standards, I am, a lot more proficient, from where I was then. And I dare say in a year's time, I will be saying exactly the same thing. But next came round, I think it was July time, I was lucky enough to get this Hanhart. I reached out to Hanhart and actually asked if I could review a few watches, and I absolutely loved them. So then I mentioned, could I buy one? And I ended up, the one I went for, because when I spoke to Felix at Hanhart, there was a couple of things he mentioned. He said, how would you improve things? And I said, you need the red push, you need this. And he said, well, hang tight, there is one coming. And so I made sure I actually got one of these when they were first released. And I absolutely love this watch. It is on the older bracelet now, so I've changed that. But I just love that red pusher. This is the flyback model. So what's meant by that is, if I start the chronograph and let's say I mess up and need to start it again, there you go. No stop start, just instant. And that was mainly for aviation purposes back in the day. And I think this watch is absolutely gorgeous. I really do like this. It's a manual wound chronograph and it is lovely. So, the rest of the year carried on. And then come November time, I had a email off Sinn. Would I like to come out and do some filming actually at the Sinn HQ in Frankfurt? And I was blown away because, okay, I'm in touch with some of the guys at Sinn, but I never expected to actually, would you like to come and film? It'd be really nice if you could. And I was like, wow. So I actually spent 2.5 days out there. And it was so great, to go there. And I just absolutely loved it. I'd been there before, but this was completely different. I could just go up to their shop and review any watches I wanted to. And as you may tell on the channel, I still have videos coming out. I made so many videos in that short time. But I came away from there knowing I did want to buy a Sinn 104 Classic 12 while I was there, but unfortunately they didn't have one in stock. So the one watch, I hadn't reviewed it, but I was lucky enough to kind of, they had a mock-up of one. So basically there was no movement in there, but I looked at the watch and I thought that was absolutely stunning. And it's the vintage 256. And so when I got home, I started looking for one of these watches, and I couldn't believe that there was just one for sale, and it wasn't that far away from me. And the guy, it was quite funny because the guy who was selling it, I was talking to him on eBay, because it was actually on eBay there, and he actually knew who I was, which is quite scary really, because people in Sinn circles tend to know me a little bit. And so I was lucky enough and got this 256 off him, and it is absolutely stunning. I love this watch. I still haven't done my review video of it, and it's the classic old school 1990s Sinn. You can tell they didn't have the hex keys on the actual bracelet, and the bracelet's a fraction smaller, and this case size on this is only 38.5 millimeters, and I think it is stunning. That watch, I think, is a real, it's just got such character to it. I really like it. And being that it's an older model now, it makes it that all the more rarer. Like, you don't see the S on the bracelets anymore like that. If I go on to that, you get this type. So, this has just got such character and coolness, and where you go, people tend not to have these, and that is just what makes it really special. Now, obviously, I think the channel now is on, I think is it 18,000 almost, so it's really is climbing, and fingers crossed at the end of next year it will be even better. So thank you to you guys for watching this and watching my videos and supporting me over this last year or longer. And basically, I just want to say, stay safe, look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the new year. Everyone take care, and all the best. Bye.